the Bluetooth speaker that introduced us, the night the room said 1014. At 9:08 p.m., my phone asked if I wanted to play music in a room I wasn't in. A sheet slid down from the top of the screen, polite as a maitre d'. Ethan's iPhone is now playing on Glycine 1014 speaker. Tap to control. The little icon with radiating waves blinked like a well-mannered lighthouse. Beneath it, the song title I didn't recognize, something atmospheric with a name that tried too hard. Ethan had left at 8 with the kiss you give a life you expect will be exactly where you put it down. Wrap drinks, he said, shrugging on a jacket that always looked borrowed and always looked right. I'll text if we go late. Don't wait. He said it the way he says everything he wants to be uncomplicated. We share a scatter of logins, music, loyalty points, the universal passwords that promise to friction-proof your night. Somewhere in there, autoplay had decided I should be an audience for a speaker that wasn't our own. The banner blinked again. Glycine 1014 speaker, patient as a bellhop. I stood in the kitchen with a wooden spoon in my hand like I might stir the evening into a different shape. The spoon did nothing. The pot did nothing. The air pretended not to have an opinion. I put on the jacket that knows how to be quiet and let the door close behind me with the soft finality of a book that believes in endings. The Glycine is one of those hotels that learn to smile during renovations, brass that refuses to oxidize, plants that practice good posture, a fragrance in the lobby that calls itself something like Sierra Liguria and costs more than my shoes. A pianist in the corner played The Absence of Blame. The concierge looked at me with the practiced mercy of someone who collects secrets like tips. I didn't ask for anything. Elevators forgive all kinds of trespasses when your shoulders remember how to hold certainty. On 10, the carpet hushed my shoes as if we were in the habit of deserving silence. Numbers gleamed with the kind of restraint that bills by the hour. I stopped 2 doors before 10:14 because I am not brave and I am not a headline. I am a man trying to breathe at the correct speed. I texted, "Tea when you get home." Offering beverages is my way of translating anger into something that can sit in a cup. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, returned like shy fish. Maybe, don't wait, might go late, read. The handle of 1014 clicked with that kindness metal learns in hotels. A rectangle of warm light widened. Ethan stepped out with the posture of a man who has rehearsed not being surprising. He pulled the door closed behind him with the gentleness he reserves for other people's libraries, not ours. "Ben," he said, my name like a receipt in a soft register. "Your phone just asked me if I wanted to DJ your room," I said, because humor is the leash I use to keep panic from running into traffic. It introduced me to your speaker like it was a friend I should already know. He looked at his shoes the way men do when they try to ask the floor for a softer version of the truth. "Not here," he said. "Not next to numbers." He glanced toward the end of the hall. "There's a smoker's terrace by the service elevator." The terrace was a glass rectangle hovering over a square of urban complication. Ductwork, vents, a metal ladder pretending to be a decision. A small round table waited like a witness that had promised discretion. An ashtray held nothing and tried hard not to be symbolic. Ethan set both hands on the rail, then opened them as if unfolding a plan he didn't want to assemble. "I lied when I left," he said. "Rap happened. People who only ever say the best version of goodbye happened. And then I told myself I needed 30 minutes with someone who doesn't invoice my laughter." "Who?" I asked, because names are handles. You hold on to one when everything tilts. "Julian," he said. "Sound. He can hear when my voice sits wrong in my own throat." Are you sleeping with him? The question is a cliff. There isn't a path that goes around it. You jump or you carry it all night like furniture. No, he said, quick, clean. Then lower the honesty that knows which muscle to hurt. I brought my mouth. We let the city decide its temperature and respected its ruling. Somewhere below, a door sighed like an edited line. A housekeeper stepped onto the terrace, took one look at the shape of our conversation, and reversed with the professional mercy of someone who knows how to collect endings without keeping them. I won't be your bouncer, I said, and I refuse to be your docent. Those are the only two job descriptions people hand out when they hear marriage and panic in the same paragraph. What do you want? He asked. Not theater contours. 30 days where we only decide in daylight, I said. We put a curfew on heavy at 9:30. If a choice can bruise, it waits for coffee. 2 nights a week belong to us, cheap, dumb, loud, quiet. It doesn't matter, but we leave the house and cheat on the routine. Phones go boring again. No lock screen previews chewing our throats. No automatic logins volunteering our location. No speakers announcing we belong where we don't. We audit email, calendars, delivery apps, loyalty points. We pull up the routes convenience grew without asking. And tonight you go home with me. He nodded once, the kind of nod a hinge makes when it remembers how. 5 minutes, he said. Count with your lungs. In the stairwell, a runner hustled by with a bus tub and the expression of a person who knows how to be present without attending. The door opened again. Julian came down the steps with a jacket folded like a well-mannered thought. He met my eyes for the length of decency. No apology, no dare. He gave me the nod men give when they have decided furniture is the safest thing to be. I did not hate him. Hatred is heavy. We own no furniture strong enough for it. Ethan returned with his mouth restored to factory settings. I told him I was misusing beginnings, he said. I told him thank you and good night. We took the back elevator because mirrors hadn't earned our trust. The lobby's piano found a chord for people choosing continuity. Outside, weather minded its own business, a favor I made a note to repay. At home, we sat on the kitchen floor because chairs are juries. I tore the blank half off a utility bill, the sacred stationery of couples who mean it. And on top I wrote RULES in the block letters I reserve for emergency sincerity. We made a list that embarrassed us into believing it. Thursday is ours. We go somewhere that isn't a screen and let the night color us back in. Decision curfew 9:30. If it can bruise, it gets a morning. Phone modesty. Do not disturb at 8, no lock screen previews, no apps introducing us without consent. Audit, unlink, unsubscribe, unwhatever. Revoke the permissions convenience stole. Paid ears, every other week. No applause for metaphors. 3 actions due by Thursday. Deliberate uselessness. The kettle gets a jingle. A glass crosses the room without hands. We learn exactly 1 step on 4 kitchen tiles. Bench by the river. We allow the water to lie about being Paris and forgive it immediately. He scrolled through the settings that confuse attention with love and turned each one off like a tiny, important lamp. He messaged Julian the sentence too modest for cinema. Thank you for the attention. I'm choosing my marriage. Please don't contact me. He put his phone face down, then face up, because transparency is repetition, not revelation. We slept badly and near, the way people sleep when they're full of possible and short on impressive. The morning did what light does. It voided late fees from the heart. Coffee happened. Ethan wrote to the rap group chat, debrief tomorrow, not tonight. I need useful silence. No one asked useful for what. Week 1. Community center lights that prefer honesty to charm. A teacher in yellow sneakers with a bell-shaped laugh taught us a swing step that requires failing on purpose. I stepped on his foot and he swore like a copy editor. Then he touched my elbow with the tenderness of someone recalibrating a compass. We split a donut the size of our pride and forgave ourselves for swallowing it. Week 2, my hand kept reaching for my phone the way a tongue looks for a loose tooth. He admitted he almost re-enabled join known networks, auto. We rehearsed not doing that until the impulse got bored and left. He added home always to favorites in an app that didn't know it could care about us. There were nights when the sync auditioned for metaphor and we fired it. We carried plates on our heads to the couch and declared victory nowhere. There were Saturdays when an ad for the Glycine slid into my feed in gold fonts that thought they were destiny. I pulled the screen down like a curtain. The ad learned its place. Rumor, not gospel. Week 3, we taped a photo to the wall that had been waiting in a drawer for the kind of attention you can't buy. It's us and 3 strangers under a sudden storm from years ago. The good kind. The kind that edits you down to your readable parts. The magnet shaped like a banana did its small sacrament on the fridge. The rules collected creases like a flag that remembers how to work. Week 4, we turned everything off for an hour. We put our phones in a mixing bowl as if restraint were a recipe. We told each other stories that don't live anywhere else. The time he fell asleep behind a curtain and woke to applause. The time I bought a train ticket to the wrong city and the mountains explained me. We laughed in the voice people use when they like the sound of their own honesty. On day 30, the speaker tried to find me again. The banner blinked, Glycine 1014 speaker ready to connect. I tapped forget this device with the solemnity of a tiny ceremony. Not tonight, I said to a rectangle of glass that never learned mercy. The kettle sang in a key the apartment didn't know it had. Steam is an optimist. We borrowed a little. Here is the part where redesign arrives, and we become men who will never hear a notification as a ghost. That is what happened. We became the sturdier version of who we already are, 2 people who can tell a system no and tell each other still. Last night he came home with the kind of tired that borrowed someone else's jacket. He held up a paper bag like a peace treaty. Lavender ice cream, he said, which is how I know he remembers the parts of me that prefer small miracles to grand gestures. We ate it by the river, breath fogging, coats open, because the rules didn't say warm, they said present. Tonight he leans in the kitchen doorway with a book resting against his ribs like a second heartbeat. What do you want exactly? He asks, without Dacre. I almost say the past, resized. I don't. You, I say, 6 counts, 4 tiles, bread tomorrow we cut with 2 hands. He smiles with that grave joy that chose me when choosing me was elective. We practice wanting where we live. The kettle keeps its promise. The city declines to comment, which is all we needed. If a speaker or a calendar or any friendly portal ever tries to tell me where I am again, it can learn what our month taught us. Something the paper on our fridge believes now, with its creases and its magnet and its sincerity. It isn't the network, the playlist, or the room number that indicates home. It's the door, and tonight it opens from the inside.